So guys, in this video we'll be dealing on how we can store the details from which the user filled from the form, how we can store them in Firestore, that's the database. So firstly, we need to configure our access to the back end in Firestore. So let's export a constant. We are going to call it db. So db, which is equals to, so let's import get Firestore, which is going to be from what? So from Firebase / Firestore. So now we're going to set this to what? Get Firestore, and we're going to pass in our app. So we are done with this. Now we head on to our console and go to Firestore database. Click on create database, test mode, so that we can have access to our database. Let's go with this. Enable. Good. Now, so we can decide to create a collection. Let's call it users, and in this collection we want to create a field. Let's just give it an auto ID and call it username. Let's say Annabelle, which is a string. So let's just save it. So this is how the structure of our data is going to be: a collection with these documents and these fields. So this is an ID which Firebase created for us. So let's get back to our app. Now we've configured this. Now let's go to the register. So instead of just console.login the user credential, let's cut this out. We need to create a collection ref. That's where we want the documents, this document we want to create now, to be. So let's call this, okay, let's just call the document ref constant doc ref. First we'll pass in doc, then doc is a function from Firebase. So let's import that, since it didn't import. So import doc, so from Firebase Firestore. So passing, and this doc takes in our db. So db is from our Firestore, our Firebase config, which is this, the Firestore which we configured with our app. So it needs to know the database it needs to send our data to. So move here. So we'll pass in db, then we'll pass in the document, which is our users. Then which ID do we want to give to the document? So we are going to use the ID of the user created. So we can get that from let's say constant user UID, which is going to be user credentials. Remember, when we console.log the user credential, we have a method called users, and in that user we can get UID. So this is going to give us the UID, so we can pass in the user UID. Good. Now over here, constant, we need to pass in, let's say doc snap. Let's call this doc snap. Is going to be equals to, now set doc is what we are going to use. So set doc, which is going to take in our doc ref, then it's going to take in this. So what are the things we want to store over there? So firstly, avatar URL, which is going to be our what? Let's call this avatar. Good. Then we need our username, which is still username, So since we are using JavaScript, so we can just pass in this. Then password, which is just going to be password. Then what again? User UID. User what? UID. So let me explain this. When we register a user, we want to first create the user with email and password. We pass a notification, email, then the password. Then we get the user UID from which was created. Once we do that, we create a what? A ref to the database where we want to store this information of the users. So we create this ref, then we create this and call on the setDoc method on it. So this setDoc method is going to, let me correct this. So this setDoc method is going to be the method that is going to post our details towards, so which is going to post our user details to the back end. So let's quickly make a correction to this. So if there is an avatar, then we want to send in avatar, else we want to use this. So this is just a avatar I got from the net. So let me show you, which is this. So this is going to be what is going to replace it. So let's test it. So we can attach a 10 to this. The 10 want to console.log, let's just say successful. So let's test this. Let's go to the register. Username, use Gabriel 246 at gmail.com. Then email, okay, let's just use Gabriel rather. Then Gabriel 246 at gmail.com. Then password 1234567. Then let's not put anything here. Let's see, let's go for it. And good. Okay, we're having db is not defined. Okay, so this should be because we did not import db. So let's import db. So we import db from Firebase config, which we use over here. So let's try this again. Let's go to register. Username, let's use Gabriel. Then (246) at gmail.com. Then password 1234567. Good. So let's go for it. Now let's see, we're having alt email already in use. Okay, so that means it has already registered. That means the first try which we did had already registered the user. So if we go over here to our authentication, we should see Gabriel 246. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete both of this, delete this, and also delete this. Good. So let's head back to the register. Let's just refresh. Then register. Gabriel. So Gabriel is the username. Email, let's go with Gabriel246 at what, gmail.com. Then password 1234567. So let's click on register. Now let's see, we said we have successful, so you can see it, we have what, successful over here. So let's go to our Firebase. We can see we have under the users, we have this created avatar URL, which is this which I passed in. We have a password, we have our user UID, which is still the same thing as this user UID. Then we have what, our username, which is what, Gabriel. Good, so that is working fine. So let's head back to our project. So good, now we have everything running fine. So let's try to create, let's create in our screens, let's create a new file called home.js, say rnfs. Good, the home. Now in our login page, we are going to set up a listener using use effects. So use effects, which is going to listen to each time a user is what, we have a user, as a user is signed in. So we need this, then to run just once. Good. Now we're going to call on auth state change, which is what, from Firebase /auth. This on auth state change takes in what, first taking our authentication, then it takes in a callback function that runs each time there is something to listen to. So first thing we'll pass in what, authentication, then let's call this user, then so if there is user, we want to run this code, else we want to what, run this. So if there is user, now we need to call on what, navigation. Remember, we have access to this navigation in our login because we registered it in our what, in our stack navigation. So we want to what, navigation dot what, navigate to what, to our home, else we'll just console the log no user. So for this to work, we need to go to our app.js and configure our home screen. So I'll just duplicate this. So this will be called home, and this will be called what, home. This is supposed to import this, so let's import it manually. So import home. Good. So now let's go back to our page. So you can see we are redirected to what, home page, because the user is actually logging. That's the last user which we registered. So in the next video, I'll be showing you guys how we can grab these users from Firebase console, from Firebase Firestore, these users that are registered, how we can grab them, and also how we can display them in our front end.